Newsource, how a mysterious smell led to closed roads in Watkinsville. Next, the FDA considers whether to approve Pfizer's booster shots for all adults. And later, how one business is helping the unhoused by selling socks. All this and more at 5 on Grady Newsource.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College at the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Good evening, I'm Riley Armont. Thank you for joining us on Grady Newsource. A strange smell filled downtown Watkinsville today. The cause of the smell has not been announced, but the traffic and scent is gone now. Grady Newsource reporter Savannah Werrett joins us live with the latest from downtown area. Hey Savannah, can you tell us more about what is happening in Oconee County?
Hey Riley, I'm live outside the Oconee State Bank in downtown Watkinsville on Main Street, where earlier today a strange scent was reported. Watkinsville police closed down some roads this morning to deal with the incident. The police are saying that if you are in the area, there's no need to worry about your safety. Here's what some local residents had to say about the smell and the communication surrounding the issue.
It smelled like, I don't know, like trash juice and excrement or something, like very strange, but kind of have this note of something that I'd never smelled before.
I'm mostly concerned about the details, the toxicity, about being informed by our elected officials.
Watkinsville residents had their morning slowed down by the traffic that the incident caused. Traffic appears to be back to normal and the scent is mostly gone, but police are advising residents to continue avoiding the area if possible. The Watkinsville Police Department has yet to officially confirm what caused the smell, but we will continue to monitor the story. Back to you, Riley.
Thank you, Savannah. Certain areas in Barrow County went into lockdown today. Police are yet to release the reason for these lockdowns. Grady Newsource reporter Alexis Elmore is here to tell us what she witnessed.
Look at a complete facelift.
We have difficulties.
Hi Riley, I was in the middle of an interview with Family Connection in Barrow County. During the last 2 minutes of the interview, all I could hear was the sound of a helicopter over the building, making it hard to hear because it was so close. I wrapped up the interview and was on my way out of the building when someone grabbed my arm and said that I would not be able to leave the building because there was multiple Barrow County sheriffs, Georgia State Patrol, and police helicopters surrounding the street beside us. I stayed in the building for about 30 minutes before I was told to leave. Walking to my car, I called the Barrow County Sheriff's Office for information on what was happening. I was told that information was not allowed to be disclosed, but that an operation was being carried out. We will continue to follow this story for more updates. Back to you, Riley.
Thank you, Alexis. President Joe Biden signed a $1 trillion infrastructure bill into law on Monday. Grady Newsource reporter Allison Casso spoke with 2 county commissioners in Northeast Georgia on their hopes for the bill.
Look at a complete facelift. That's exactly what these bills is going to be able to do.
Georgia commissioners from across the state met in Savannah this weekend for an annual conference and discussed the new infrastructure bill. Athens Clark County Commissioner Jesse Howell says housing, climate change, and the infrastructure bill were key discussion topics. Howell says he is most excited for the bill to help with needed updates.
We're just woefully behind where we need to be, and I think this bill's going to help a lot.
The biggest ticket items on this new bill in Georgia will be improving the roads, public transportation, and high-speed internet coverage. Todd Higdon, the chairman of the Board of Commissioners in Madison County, said he is most excited to improve internet service and roads.
Target goal in a period of 3 years is to have 85% of our county connected, where right now we got 34%. And not only connected, but connected with high speed. And it can be done.
Higdon says the new transportation tax in Madison County will allow all the roads to be repaved, and the money from the new infrastructure bill will help with public transportation and infrastructure for bikers and walkers. In Athens Clark County, Howell says the needs are more underground.
Is the maintenance of our existing infrastructure, which doesn't seem important to people, especially when you can't see the pipes that are underground. You can't see the bridges that are in need of replacement to drive over.
Both counties are very hopeful for the new bill, but are cautious until they know the fine print and how the money will be allocated. For Grady Newsource, I'm Allison Casso.
This week, the FDA is considering whether to approve the Pfizer booster shot for everyone 18 and older. Currently, the third vaccine is only available to those 65 and older, and adults 18 or older with special conditions. The CDC's recommendation does allow mix and match booster shots, so the Pfizer booster would be available to those who would previously receive doses of Moderna or Johnson & Johnson. This week is the University of Georgia Vaccine Booster Shot Week. The incentive is sponsored by UGA vaccine ambassadors as well as the Minority Student Science Association. Eligible students and faculty who want to get a booster shot can go to the University Health Center or the UHC website.
Available now if you had your first and second dose about 6 months ago.
November is Native American Heritage Month. Grady Newsource reporter Samantha Spinacci highlights Native American history and land in Athens.
The land that I am standing on was once owned, managed, and lived on by Native American people. UGA's campus land and most of the land around the Oconee River was once owned by Creek and Cherokee people. Since the Indian Removal Act of 1830, most of the land has not been owned by indigenous people. For Elise Blassingame, a member of the Osha tribe, Native American Heritage Month is every day.
It's a really good moment to reflect on parts of our history that are typically not shared, or we uplift the voices of people who are historically marginalized or don't get a platform to speak very often.
In front of Baldwin Hall, there are 2 boulders gifted to the University of Georgia that highlight Georgia's Native American history. The boulders have traditional petroglyphs, spiral designs, and other images carved into them. To continue the conversation of Native history, Elise suggests highlighting the voices and culture of Natives.
Non-Native people, if you're interested in learning more about Native culture, is look at all of the different depictions. Like there's folks in every facet of life that you can think of, and so I would say try to identify and engage with those Indigenous and Native voices.
For Grady Newsource, I'm Samantha Spinacci.
A group of local businesses is teaming up to bring a warm meal to those in need this holiday season. Grady Newsource reporter Megan Middlehammer tells us about the first Comer Friendsgiving.
In a small town in Madison County, 3 local businesses have come together with a common goal in mind: feed the underserved for Thanksgiving.
And this is obviously a very hard time for a great many people.
Or folks who are just lonely too. We wanted to reach out with, to those folks too who just might need somebody to share a meal with.
3 Porch Farm, the Comerian Bakery, and Comer Coffee Company have teamed up to provide a warm meal to people in need. They're calling it the Comer Friendsgiving, and they hope this year's success will inspire a bigger event for years to come. 4,280 people in Madison County experienced food insecurity in 2019. Half of those individuals are below the SNAP poverty line. Feed America projects 13.3% of individuals in rural areas are living with food insecurity this year.
Well, it's always good to give something to the community, and especially these days or all days, that some people just don't have it.
The local businesses crowdsourced extra funds to pay for tables, chairs, hand-washing stations, and restrooms. They were overwhelmed with support when they met their donation goal in less than 24 hours.
Trying to cross all the T's and dot the I's as best as possible and not leave anybody hanging, but we also don't want to overpromise. So we're trying to get our feet under us this year, and hopefully we can continue this every year and get better and bigger and serve more people as time goes on.
Saturday's event will be set up in the town square behind me. For those still needing a warm meal, you can make a reservation, and meals will be delivered to those who do not have transportation. For Grady Newsource, I'm Megan Middlehammer.
After the break, how a University of Georgia student manages life with type 1 diabetes and a preview of Women's Entrepreneurship Day.
When I was 10, my mom got deported. We had a difficult time, and I feel that's why I didn't get to finish school.
Jessica has been through a lot in her life from early childhood.
My husband is really supportive in a way that he pushed me to go back to school.
She came in looking to complete her diploma. She had a family she had to take care of. Anytime she needed help, we provided her help. She realized that we were here for her.
She wants to have a career so her kids can look up to her.
My graduation, it was something I will never forget. I couldn't explain the emotion I was feeling because people like you and me sometimes may have doubts in ourselves, but I feel that everything's possible.
Jessica's future is brighter than ever.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna. Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Have you ever wondered what it is like to live with diabetes? November is Diabetes Awareness Month, and Grady Newsource reporter Kayla Roberson talked with a Georgia student about how she faces the challenges from the disease every day.
Type 1 diabetes affects over 34 million people in the United States. It is caused when the pancreas attacks itself, killing the cells that produce insulin. This leads to a buildup of sugar in the bloodstream because there's nothing to break it down. Lauren Palmer was diagnosed with type 1 at 11 years old, but her grandmother, who also had diabetes, was her source of strength as she learned how to manage it for herself.
I guess I was surprised, but I wasn't scared just because I knew that my Nana had done it all of her life, or as long as I had known her.
Lauren says that from then on, her life looked fairly normal. She participated in sports with her friends, went to summer camps, and attended school like she always had. But diabetes isn't something that can be put in the back of your mind and forgotten about.
From that day that she got diagnosed until today, she has to think about her diabetes.
Constantly checking her blood sugar, always packing snacks in case she goes low, keeping her bag of medical supplies with her at all times, and counting carbs at every meal. These are just some of the things that Lauren has to do every day as a type 1 diabetic. Advancements in medical technology like Lauren's insulin pump have made living with diabetes easier, but currently there is no cure. Lauren says that she wished there was more of a conversation surrounding the mental health aspects of diabetes.
A lot of diabetics have mental health issues, and they have issues with food, and they have issues with taking care of themselves, and it's not because they don't care, but it's because it's so long-term.
Extensive research is being done to find a cure for diabetes by organizations like the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Until there is a cure, she says that diabetes serves as a reminder of her own strength and resilience.
It's just kind of like a good reminder that life throws hard things at you, but like you can get through them and you can fight through them.
Kayla Roberson, Grady Newsource.
This Friday is Women's Entrepreneurship Day. In celebration of our nation's female business owners, Grady Newsource reporter Emma Robinson visited a women-owned art shop here in Athens to share the story of an empowered female entrepreneur.
Dancing wood figures, rainbow bar stools, and miniature art easels. These are just a few of the abstract pieces found in the KA Artist Shop. A spot for Athens creatives to find art supplies and take classes, the KA Artist Shop has found its niche since Kristen Ashley McCarthy opened its doors in 2014, when what was originally supposed to be a studio for her small Etsy shop turned into something so much bigger.
And the minute I walked in, I fell in love, and the light bulbs just were popping off all over my head, and I call it the dream I never knew I had.
Nearly 7 years later, and the KA Artist Shop stands as one of the 1.2 million women-owned businesses in the U.S. But as a small business, as well as a female-owned one, McCarthy says it took some time to find her footing.
When I started the shop, I did look pretty young, and being female, I did get a lot of people who asked to see the owner, and I was like, I'm the owner, and they would be like, really?
This state of surprise could be because only about 20% of U.S. businesses are female-owned, and last year, women in business earned only about 76% of men's weekly earnings. But despite this discouraging wage difference, McCarthy proves herself with a strong work ethic and passion for her craft.
She definitely looks to foster an atmosphere of respect here and really encourages everyone to give it their all.
McCarthy says that there is a strong support network of women-owned businesses in Athens, from vintage clothing store Community to brunch spot Heirloom Cafe. Her words of advice for other women aspiring to be their own boss?
I'd say go for it. You know, if you have something you're passionate about and you want to turn it into a reality, what's the harm?
Emma Robinson, Grady Newsource.
If you're looking to cross some names off on your holiday shopping list, you can head to Tinseltown in Oconee County this weekend. Grady Newsource reporter Sam Perez has more details on how the event is supporting local businesses.
Peppermints.
For the first time ever, the Oconee County Chamber of Commerce is hosting a Tinseltown holiday market this weekend to help support local businesses. Over 20 local vendors will set up at DGD Farms in Watkinsville.
Once it's cured to a certain temperature.
Beth Hughes is one of those vendors. She owns a local candle company, Little Light Co. Hughes has been getting ready for the event since this summer.
The preparation leading up to Tinseltown and every single market is just a ton of soy wax and arm muscle.
She's worked hard to make over 3,000 organic, all-natural candles to sell. Macy Reagan has also been hard at work since July. Reagan co-owns Macy Gray, a local boutique in downtown Watkinsville. She says operating a brick-and-mortar store in a pandemic has been challenging, but with events like Tinseltown, she's seen the community rally around her.
Write the style number.
And I think if we were in any other community, we might not have made it. So it's just been amazing just to see how supportive Oconee County has been. And so to do this event with other people that are local to Oconee County, we're really excited.
Hughes says she is also thankful for the support she's found in the community, which is something she says makes a world of difference.
When you buy from a small business, we literally do a happy dance. You are supporting an actual family here in the community. You are supporting me being able to hire students. You are supporting a local carbon footprint.
Both Reagan and Hughes are hoping that people show out to the event and understand the importance of shopping local this holiday season.
I'm really anti-big box shopping. If you could avoid the big boxes this year, I think now more than ever, this community really needs to put the dollar where it matters, and it matters most with our families.
Tomorrow, vendors will begin to set up in this barn behind me. Pre-sale tickets are available online until tomorrow at 5 p.m., but you'll have the chance to purchase a ticket at the door. For Grady Newsource, I'm Sam Perez.
After the break, Nikki Schatz has your 5-day weather forecast and when you can see a near total lunar eclipse.
There is a road laid out for me, leading down to
boxes everywhere, and this is gonna be Addie's room.
I am blind, but I need not see.
I think you're really gonna like it.
I know this road is there for me. There is a love waiting.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Waist down by the river. I am blind, but I need not see. I know this love is there for me.
Nice and slow.
If
I got
I'm
this.
free, take me down to the river
Nice.
and wash me.
Okay. What do you think?
What if you could feel in control of your retirement in just a few clicks? At aceyourretirement.org, you can. Start with a free 3-minute chat with Avo, your friendly digital retirement coach. Just answer some simple questions like, how do you feel about your ability to save for retirement? Or in how many years do you want to retire? to get free action items customized just for you. Get your retirement back on track at aceyourretirement.org.
And now, the weather.
Good evening. I'm Nikki Schatz with your Northeast Georgia weather. In just a few minutes, the sun will start to set, bringing temperatures down to a cool 44 degrees later tonight. Thursday's weather is a little more all over the place with a high of 75 degrees and a low of 39. Later in the afternoon, a 20% chance of slight showers, so pack that raincoat just in case. On Friday, you can expect to have sunny skies with a high of 61 degrees and a low of 36. As we move into the weekend, we see more mild temperatures on Saturday. And if you're like me, I'm sure you're wondering what you're going to wear for the last home football game this season. Saturday temperatures are supposed to start off in the low 40s and reach its peak of 56 degrees mid-afternoon, so make sure to wear layers. Sunday is expected to have that nice fall weather we've all been craving with mostly sunny skies and a high of 61 degrees. Later Sunday night, temperatures are supposed to drop to about 44 degrees with a 20% chance of showers. Going into Monday, you can expect a high of 60 degrees and a low of around 33 degrees with a 30% chance of rain. This Friday is a full moon with its greatest point at 3:58 a.m. Also this Friday, a near total lunar eclipse. This lunar eclipse is the longest of the century. It becomes visible around 2:18 a.m. and disappears around 5:47. The moon will pass into the Earth's shadow, creating this eclipse. There are supposed to be clear skies, so drink a few coffees with your friends Thursday night, stay up late, and watch the eclipse, or don't. For those of you having friends and family visit this Thanksgiving weekend, remember to tell them to pack light sweaters, a few items they can layer with, and perhaps a raincoat. That's it for your weather forecast. Again, I'm Nikki Schatz with Grady Newsource.
Next up, Tyler Johnson gives us a look into the UGA football game on Saturday.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
We scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. What? I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Wait, why does my face look like that? I'm playing with these new face filters. Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine. But I need that back. No. Kevin!
You know, a lot of people say, when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
And now, sports.
Good evening, I'm Tyler Johnson with your sports update. The University of Georgia's football team is tackling their last home game of the season as they take on Charleston Southern this Saturday at noon at Sanford Stadium. Now, because it is the last home game of the season, UGA will be celebrating their senior players as they get ready to graduate. Senior football player Devontae Wyatt says that he and Jordan Davis knew that if they came back, they could have a great year, and says that it will be very emotional after the game on Saturday. Sophomore Kendall Milton and junior George Pickens are both still getting over their injuries. Head football coach Kirby Smart doubts Milton will play this Saturday, and he also says that Pickens is getting better in practice with his intensity, but he is still not fully participating because no players are allowed to tackle him. Now, the ultimate UGA versus Georgia Tech game will be played at Georgia Tech on November 27th at noon. People love this matchup because whoever wins the game normally has bragging rights over which Georgia school is the best. Now, thank you for joining me for your sports update. I'm Tyler Johnson.
Coming up after the break, how local business Pop Socks is making an effort to help the unhoused.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie, nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time Shiro to all of us. You nurture, we listen. You teach, we thrive. You lift our spirits, but we've got to lay down the truth. It's time for you, our Shiro, to stretch for the stars. A free online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Start saving more for retirement so you can feel prepared and live your life to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
For the month of November, Athens local business Pop Socks is partnering with Athens Alliance Coalition. Grady Newsource reporter Alyssa McDaniel says how the partnership will help the homeless.
Athens, Georgia local and Pop Socks owner Marquez Williams partners with Athens Alliance Coalition for the month of November in efforts to provide the unhoused community with what Marquez says is the least donated commodity, socks.
I kind of got inspired by Bombas. They're a big sock brand that they do the buy a pair, give a pair, and they donated a whole bunch of socks. And kind of through them, I was kind of educated on being able to know that socks were the most requested but the least donated.
Williams says how he has long had a love for socks as well as a passion for football since 4th grade and played college ball for 2 colleges, was drafted into the NFL in 2017 by the Jacksonville Jaguars, and went on to play in the Arena Football League and XFL League.
And a lot of my teammates at the time, outside of playing football, they all had their own separate businesses. And I didn't quite have one then and felt like I should get into business.
Williams says that for every pair of socks purchased in November, a pair will be donated to the Athens Alliance Coalition. In addition, buyers will receive 10% off when they make a purchase of $30 or more. And Athens Alliance Coalition President Charles Hardy says their mission is to help the less privileged.
We've been working directly with the homeless for now. We also deal with other things in the community like supporting the youth, mentoring, counseling. We help single parents with transportation. We also have a transportation service.
Hardy says how any volunteer service or money and food donations to give to the homeless community are accepted. This has been Alyssa McDaniel with Grady Newsource.
I'm Riley Armont, and thank you for joining us on Grady Newsource. Have a great night.
Grady Newsource is a student production of the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Georgia, which is solely responsible for its contents. Views expressed do not represent those of the administration nor the Board of Regents at the University System of Georgia.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers. He connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew a girl so smart, so responsible, she must be a keeper.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
There is a road laid out for me, leading down to
Boxes everywhere. And this is gonna be Addie's room.
I am
So
blind,
boy.
but I need not see.
I think you're really gonna like it.
I know this road is there for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Waist down by the river. I am blind, but I need not see. I know this love is there for me.
Nice and slow.
I got this. Take me down to the river
Nice.
and wash me.
Okay. What do you think?
I've got it. Well, we had some technical issues. If we have our live viewers joining us right now, we would like to apologize that we started our show 25 minutes late, but we had a very legitimate reason. Sometimes it's out of our hands, and our wonderful volunteers who can work miracles and are so dedicated and devoted managed somehow to resolve very serious technical issues, and we decided to broadcast our show anyway, even though we started 25 minutes late. Harper battled to the last moment and somehow got things working again, and if you can share with us what you think is happening and how we're going to go past that.
Yeah, right. So this obviously all set from last show. I'll keep it sweet. But essentially what happened was, all of our stuff was working as it normally should be until the last 2 minutes when I tried to get the logo loop up, essentially, which is like that little loop in music before we actually go into your show. And it was black. And I was like, what's going on? That's never happened before. That's also not been any of the issues that we've had this entire semester, technically. So this was something new. Essentially,
everything that we roll that is pre-recorded, weather, sports, ad breaks, stingers, all that stuff that comes off of playback, you've heard me say that word before, that was not working. We ironically could hear everything, and I could see the audio levels going, but we couldn't view anything. So what ended up being that 25-minute delay was me doing what I've done before to make one of your shows run, which is taking all of that content and importing it all onto the director's computer, onto the TriCaster, and running everything on there. And obviously, we try not to do that to begin with, because that places a lot of stress on the director, as you saw when we were getting into those double boxes in the beginning of the show. And, you know, getting to that second double box was a little bit difficult. It was a really, really quick transition. And that's something that normally I would have been way prepared for and had everything ready to go had the other thing not happened. But as far as that live shot was concerned, that live shot double went perfectly. I don't know if she's here yet, but I don't know when they're going to get back from Watkinsville. But they did awesome. We had that set up really nice. It started getting dark out there, but yeah, we cued her right on time, and she was able to take it right from Kelsey the Jess, so that looks good. We were able to get all of your content out there for your reels, which is really what matters the most, is that you have something to show for, not necessarily just like this individual show as a complete body, but your individual pieces that they're out there. And we were able to do that, and I'm going to work with Shumway and whoever else that can help me to figure out what's going on with playback. Otherwise, I might just say screw it and just do what I did today and not even risk it, so that your last show is perfect. That's all I got.
We're here to learn. We are here about perfection and trying our very perfect best every day. And that's what we strive for. And sometimes things like technical difficulties stand in the way. But I think all of these are learning experience. As I told Michelle, you know, let's just keep our cool, and we will figure how to. She started the on-air timer. Guys, great job with the live shot, despite everything. Next time I would ask you guys, did you take lights with you? Could you have turned on some lights? Yeah. Because we're here about learning, not perfection, as I was saying as you walked in. My heroes, thank you. That's something to think about. Backups, you know. You would never have imagined that we would be starting the show 25 minutes late when you were counting on having daylight. So, but always prepare for the worst. Like I was telling Michelle, prepare that your live shot is going to go down. What are you going to do? What is the backup content? Are you going to start your show with? Because this is your first story. And so we figured things out. So always think of the worst case scenario and be prepared. But there was no way, I couldn't have imagined that would have happened. We've never started the show 25 minutes late and it got dark. And that's, again, we're just here to learn and to think things through. And again, you're my heroes. You did a great job. I love where you decided to set up the live shot with the digital clock and right downtown. There was a lot of movement, and I just liked that, the setting. And so I really appreciate it, and you did a great, great job. This is the only thing I would kind of advise all of you to think of the worst case scenarios and be prepared. And then will be scenarios for which you couldn't even imagine, like today's anyway. So, so thank you very much. And Savannah, you did a great job. You have, we can see, we know it's you, even though it was dark. But you have something for your reel to show that you've done a live show. I know you wanted to experience it. So how was it? I'm dying to find out. Is this your first live shot? Yeah.
Fun. I was very, very nervous. It definitely helped to go over my script 7,000 times. The extra half hour was very useful for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely fun. I don't know. I definitely am glad I went over those scripts. I don't really know what else. Just once again, it's kind of came at me really quickly. I tried to slow down. I don't know if I
I was
did.
going to say, I was so impressed. I was
Okay,
watching
good.
and I said, I know she's. You weren't speeding. You.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
It sounded like you just said it off the top of your
I
head.
was just so proud
cool.
of you. Yes, I was just so proud of you.
Oh, thank you so much.
So, yeah, and you weren't here, but if you're people, everybody wants.
Oh.
We're happy that you say that.
Thank you.
And today was, I think, the most extraordinary live-breaking news day. We had you doing this story, and again, guys, it shouldn't have been me. You guys should have known about this story. Not you, but the Oconee people. When you go out in the real world, when you have a beat, you shouldn't have your executive producer, which is me, your boss, telling you, did you check your email? And did you see that there's an ongoing situation, dangerous, endangering lives, down to Watkinsville, where your beat is. That should never happen in real life. Never. You should always follow your beat and know what's happening. But these are just teachable moments. You're students, you're not journalists yet, although I forget because you're so professional. And so I don't think anybody did anything wrong. But in the real world, this is something for you to remember that you missed. You were going to miss a very important story. And if this was the real world, your TV station would have looked really bad because your competition would have been live from the scene. And you would have gone with booster shots from last week story or something like that, right? So think of these things. Or like you wanted to start the show with what? The infrastructure package? Yeah, which is from last week. Yes, an update on a lawsuit from last week. And your competition would have been live on the scene in Oconee County, where people are, as Savannah's sound bites, you could hear the people saying, we want more information. They were asking for more information. So your TV station would have been written up and poo-pooed in the press. It would have been a huge setback for the image of your TV station. So that's how serious this is. And again, it's for you to remember what it means to cover a beat. Your finger has to be on the pulse. And to check that email, we had received texts. You should have gone. I keep looking at you. It's not you. Yes. And you should have also. Yeah. It's all you. For me to, I'm not saying this to blame anybody. Again, you are students. You have to, it's not a mistake, but I want you to know missing something like this, what it means in the real world, because your TV station will be in trouble. And the image, and so that, I wanted just to say that it's important. I don't want to make you feel bad about it. All I want to say is that remember this moment as your hot stove moment, and so that you can never let that happen again, and you are protected when you are in the real world. That's why you're here, to get the real world experience. Make your mistakes. I think I told you when I lived in Denmark, when I would ask those startups, I mean, guys, look at the statistics, 9 out of 10 will fail. Why are you doing a startup? And they would say, you know what? More valuable to a few, because they know that I've failed and I've learned, and I'm telling them what I learned, and they know that I have the chance to be more successful because I've failed and I've learned from it. So that's what we're doing here. We are learning. So nobody should, but this would have been a very serious, I want you to know and to explain to you why this is very serious. Having said that, we had a great day. I'm glad that you're safe, Lexi. Lexi was in a lockdown situation, and she, we weren't able to play the video that you, yeah, but we had her tell us. Again, it was a today story, which happened hours ago, and it was still ongoing. Just like the Oconee story, we need to follow that. What is the reason for that? What happened? How do we know that, police's word that nobody, that it's not dangerous? Is fine. With you too, your situation, you've got to keep following it because we need to know what was going on. People need to know. And you saw it yourself, Savannah, when you talk to people, they wanted to know, and that's what our role is. So I think those are very important to you today, all these stories, because you do these feel-good, feature-y stories because you're learning how to be visual storytellers. But when every were these stories that today happened last week, like Dexter, who joined a few ideas as to how, if a story like happened yesterday, but there's something happening in a few days, you start with that, and then go back and say, last week this happened, important teachable moments. I will look at the recording, and I thought there was just wonderful performance from Riley, from Tyler, from Nikki. Nikki had so much fun, it was not even funny. And Tyler was just like, it was some great moments, everything was just done with passion and with presence and with, I could tell that you had practiced your scripts and you were into them, and that is just wonderful. But I will zip it because I'm full producer Michelle to tell us what she learned from this experience today.
Hi. So thank you guys so much for pushing through this. I know each of you faced some type of obstacle today, and you were still able to come through and finish what you needed. I don't think I had anyone that didn't turn their stuff in. What I learned today, I guess with my Newsius, I was stacking my rundown. I had a little bit of a learning curve to do with kind of trying to put value into each of the stories and see, while all of them are important, I needed to see which one was the newsiest story and which one needed to be our lead package. So that I got to play around with Professor V. So I guess I learned to also check our email. I checked all of other breaking news. Like I checked the New York Times, Athens Herald. I checked different areas. Our emails also. Yes.
I have alerts coming on my phone, from apps on my phone. I have emails that alert me, media. I have all sorts of things going on constantly. Sam created an extraordinary contact list, so well organized, and I thank you for that. It's really important, yeah, because it's easy. You don't have to look up, the county, and you, of course, you have to make sure that whoever has that beat should be the primary contact. You don't want to mess things up and know who you need to go through, not straight away to the superintendent of schools. You go to the communications person, and then things like that. Just be mindful. And I'm impressed with what you did, even though, again, you had a teachable moment, missing that news, but still you came prepared with ideas, with a vision, which is wonderful. And the way you stacked the show and organized your stories was good. I kind of messed up a little bit with your stories. But yes, it was good, and I thank you all for your patience, because all of a sudden I had so many stories coming at me, and all of you were very patient and got everything approved, and you because there was a lot of fresh content coming, and that's very good. And with some of you, I went back and forth several times because I want to give you final anything I can think of, wisdom or whatever. So I spent a lot of time with each person trying to kind of, yes, anybody, guys, if anybody has to leave, we can go a few more minutes. I'd like to hear from our digital producer, Ballard.
Overall, I think it was a great day. Thank you to Nikki for the wonderful idea for the TikTok. Michelle and I kind of talked a lot today. I felt like much more involved in the broadcast, which was great. It was obviously a big breaking news day, so that's probably why. One thing I learned as digital producer, after this is, I think it's my third time doing it, is not to contact MMJs in the morning. Instead, do it around 3 o'clock. That way you get packages quicker and scripts quicker, because people tend to forget throughout the day. It's a busy day. Other than that, one thing I also learned was to, I think Sam and Emma sent me their packages, and I trimmed them to put a SOT onto Facebook instead of putting the whole package onto Facebook and then linked it to YouTube. I thought that would, we'll see how it does in terms of engagement, but I thought that would be better. And then another thing I wanted to do was to clip some of the live show, but that obviously didn't work out because of the YouTube live. But other than that, everyone was very responsive and helpful in getting to me, getting their content to me, and very creative. So thank you to everyone, and thank you to Michelle as well. Thank you so much.
Great piece of content, yeah. Wonderful, because it will get a lot more audience online.
Yeah, also one thing I want to focus on was more original content instead of just pushing content out there. So that was kind of my focus. And Nikki helped out a lot with the TikTok. I wanted to do a TikTok with the news anchor, with the anchor behind the scenes, but I was waiting for the YouTube live to get up there, and I was like, do I have time? You seem very stressed out, and you had to improvise and everything, so I was like, I don't want to bother her. So, but that was another idea, and then I put like a YouTube or Instagram story on there, so. Yeah.
Thank you, Ballard. Anybody want to share something they learned today? I have my own. I'm privileged. I'm special. I have my own. There was a lot of wonderful graphics going on, moving, dynamic, creative, and a lot of great content. But again, I need to, you know me, I need to watch to do it justice. And we'll one last time on Monday. But yeah, and so Monday I told you we'll have Barry Swash do a critique. Get your blooper ready. I saw Sam S. is dying for content. Yeah, so anybody wants to share something that they learned that you want to go? Everybody's tired. Guys, please go. Very proud of you. Thank you. And I will see you on Monday.